I I think we should YouTube. Today we're talking about your financial preparation to coronavirus. I'm going to tell you why. I was in line for Costco 2 days ago. The lady said she's an event planner. Uh, Various people around at that point had a conversation. Most of them were business owners, and they said basically they're month to month or they have a few months financials left before they have to let everybody go. I don't even know. I have neighbors that do quite well. They're paying themselves $1 while they're continuing to pay their employees. My wife just reported back to me friends whose businesses used to have 180 consistent customers down to 11. These remind me so desperately of the stories of I had when people came in to do short sales and walkaway plans. My website, which I'm going to start over the weekend, upsidedownrealestate.com, help people make their plans. I did financial triage with them. We talked about whether they once they decide they will let their house go. We talked about the sequencing of it so they could have the best results, stay in their house the longest, whatever their goals were, try to minimize damage to their credit. They made the choices. I gave them their options. I want to try to resurrect. I'm not even up to speed on it. I've done one short sale consult lately and one walkaway consult. And all the old things were coming back. This is a video where I'm pretending that you've come into my office and we're going over it. I don't claim to be an expert in all of it. I'm doing this to help you realize you've got to think about your options. First, let me tell you that when people walked into my office, it was varied. It was early on some lender types who understood that they had options and they had 7 properties and they knew that if they knew what a recourse loan was and a non-recourse loan, and they'd come in with 5 non-recourse loans or whatever loans they had, made a plan, walked away. They spun the dice. They realized they lost whatever deposits they had. They were controlling millions of dollars of property. They were lenders themselves. I'm telling you, a large portion of my initial 20 clients, they walked away happily, right? It was a business decision when they took the risk. It was a business decision when they got out. They licked their wounds. Another round, that second round, they'd come in 3 to 6 months later. They had great jobs doing mortgages. They stopped making money. They took all their savings to try to float the house or 2 or 3 they controlled. Their money was gone. And now some of them were in various stages of panic and fear. I had other people, many people getting divorced. I think some of it, the business side of me was like, well, they realized they shouldn't have been together and this precipitated it. But otherwise, people who seemed like they loved each other and kids were blaming each other that they kept the properties afloat because they should have, as they said, just kept their money to themselves so that they could make it through the hard times. And now they were desperate. And just serious recriminations going back and forth. Super sad part of my job. Don't be those people. Okay? You can make the moral decision. I'm leaving the morality out of it about how long you continue to pay your employees. For now, I want to approach this like a business. So, it probably doesn't have the rules out now. They don't know what they're doing. I'm going to have I'm going to have a community where people can come together and share their loan mod, just the data, and we'll analyze it so you can come up with your strategy. I'm not there yet. But let me just say, it's time to do the options, consider your options, and then do the triage. So the very first thing, let's leave real estate out of it. Let's say it's your business. What are you going to do? You've got rent. You're in a business that's being seriously affected by this. We'll use restaurant as an example. Many restaurants. I talk to people who are chefs. Some of my son's friends are chefs. They're already on unemployment. Their businesses, they were probably month to month on the restaurant, so they own 2 or 3. These people are like, I got to preserve my money. We're letting you go. Thanks. Go help yourself. We're keeping in the few people to do the takeout. That is the business decision. They're like, well, to keep this alive and keep those people eating, this is what we got to do. It's hard to judge the morality of that. The chef was pissed, but people are still getting fed. So you got to make those calls. But the very first thing is find out your options. So if you've let your people go, if your business is going downhill, you have to decide how long can you float your business versus when you'll be wiped out. Is this a good idea? That, let's say you project 6 months. Should you carry it for 6 months? Oh, let me just bring everybody's attention to, if you type in today, how long will Americans be fighting coronavirus? Yesterday, the AP brought out the different models. They're saying unless Fauci and some of the other top guys said, unless there is a cure or inoculation This is going to go on. It's not just going to disappear. It's not like in the movies. One of the quotes was where people go through tough times and all of a sudden it's solved. They're like, it could come back and forth in ways. We open up, we close, we open up, we close. It could be, as he keeps saying, 6 months to, as Fauci says, 6 months to a year before the virus. So they're thinking there's a risk. One model, two models say it's not going to go away until they get a cure, until they get a vaccine. When asked how long people are going to stay in state, Dr. Fauci said it's going to be at least a few weeks. Well, they don't want to say, but it's probably months, right? Now, there could be a cure tomorrow. There's all sorts of things. Like my father-in-law reads Dutch because he's from Holland. Says Utrecht University in Rotterdam came up with some antibody thing. That could happen. Fauci today sort of discounted the idea that malaria drugs will fight it well, but I saw the headline. I didn't read the whole story because this is every day. I think you need to be prepared that at some point in time, you're not going to float the business. Do you protect your remaining assets, your cash? You have to make that decision. You have to make that moral decision. You have to do it. If you're going to do it, let's just get ahead of the game. Call your landlord now. Talk about the problem. You talk about discounting, cutting your lease payments, or eliminating them, having 6 months, 10 months, 12 months before you have to pay them again. They can maybe, they're going to have problems too. They're different size landlords. But do they really want to lose customers and start up all over again with somebody else? So maybe they'll work something out. So you develop a workout plan with the money that's going out, every single one of them. Consider your employees, consider your mortgage, consider everything. You want to cut payments, keep your cash. That's what this is telling me. You don't want to be those people that come in and see an attorney about a workout plan when you've got nothing left. Please don't be those people. Please know your options. If in the end you choose to say, I will weather this until I have nothing left because it's the right thing to do, fine. I applaud you. That's an option. But don't do it. Don't do it if it's going to be killing you when you come into the office and say, okay, I need the workout plan. I need to walk away from my house now in the mortgage. Will they come after me for the deficiency? I need to consider a short sell. I need to do the loan mod now. I've got nothing. Most likely, most of your workout plans are going to be non-payment for a few months, and then the banks will consider you. They're going to make you wreck your credit if they did it like last time. Maybe the federal government will come out and say, no, people don't have to pay. We'll take care of it. That's a possibility. What I'm saying is be aware that this could last a while and be prepared for the consequences. Know all your options. Get all your options on the table today. Then make your choices. And I understand the morality of the choices. I understand people are saying, for instance, let me just say, some people got their money out of the stock market a week or two ago. It hasn't changed much since then. It's all bouncing around near the bottom unless the end of the day. I don't know what happened in the last hour of the day today. Keeping your money in the stock market is not being patriotic. Let's understand what the stock market is. The stock market is a secondary market where people with stock, companies with stock, can go to sell their stock to raise more cash. It's where they can float money to get more loans. It's where new companies, if you're buying new companies, that's sort of patriotic, right? But these companies, they already exist. They use their stock to buy and sell things by floating it more, but you're really just helping the insiders. The stock market helps the insiders cash out or sell their companies or buy their companies. It's a secondary market in most circumstances, and therefore it does nothing. It's not like the companies when a stock price is 50 or stock price is 100, unless that company's selling stock to you, in which case you consider that under patriotic in this model. Unless they're selling stock to raise money, which maybe you should be selling stock to raise money, the stock price of the company does not matter in terms of being patriotic because it doesn't help the company. The company's trading. They're saying, oh, well, this month we're making $10 per share, so my stock is worth $1,000. Next month, if they're making $5 a share, their stock should be discounted proportionally. That's all the stock market's doing. It's investors saying, I want to own a piece of that company for the potential income or the assets or whatever it is being generated. It's not patriotic to stay in the stock market. You need to decide whether you think it's going to go up or down, or you don't want the risk. That's what you should be deciding, not saying it's patriotic. Two, I probably should have led with this. Pay attention to this. I'm going to do another video on this. with respect to your loans, there is a moral component. And many clients said, I want to continue paying on my loans because I made a promise. It's the moral thing to do. Let me tell you, if this is where we're going to lead, I'm going to have to do the next video. I got to pick up my son from college. I'm going to do the next video. I promise I linked to it. I said this before, but this time I'm doing it. I'm going to start upsidedownrealestate.com. I'm going to give you a link. Let me, I can't, I'm not a Hollywood producer. I'm not going to leave you a cliffhanger. This is the deal in California anyway. If the banker said, here, John, have $500,000 on your word and shook your hand, that would be one thing. That would be one component. Many people here in the old days, Arthur Ashe always did business on a handshake. He didn't do a contract. He had honor. People recognized it. They trusted him. I'm sure there's not millions, I'm sure there's thousands of people that have done business for big money on handshakes. Your honor was on the line. You were on the line. I welcome you with that model. But I want you to consider something else. If your banker was trusting you and your word, your banker would not have taken your house as collateral. Okay? Right? If you don't pay, they opted in, your bank, your mortgage lender, opted into a framework in California where there's laws and it governs how they do business. They could have stayed outside of that. They didn't have to take collateral for your home when you took a mortgage. In fact, retired people frequently do get loans on their homes based on their assets, and it's not, the loans are not secured by people's homes. That is another framework. But if your lender opted in to have the security of your home rather than take your word on it, you're in a different framework. Now, look, I go to church, I'm Christian, I understand what your point is, but I want you to know that if you cared and not see it as a moral decision, it's okay, because your banker didn't take your word. Your banker didn't take your honor. They opted into a framework where your house is security. So the reason why I justify what I did, helping hundreds of people do short sales, helping probably close to 1,000 people walk around. I probably had 1,000 phone calls, yet alone the hundreds of clients that I had doing walkaways and a few loan mods. I realized loan mods were a lot of work, and I was not willing to charge $2,000 or $3,000 for loan mods because I'd already doing short sales and walkaways, and I knew that banks were indecisive. But I counseled people about that. I told hundreds of people on the phone to go do it yourself. We're gonna come up to speed. I want to gather a community. We gather all that, but let me just say, you don't have to see this as a moral decision because your bank opted into a framework in California where there's collateral. So, if you want to preserve your capital, if you don't think your business is going to be coming back soon, at some point you decide, hey, I'd like to stay in my home and work something out with them, and they're going to say, great, you're probably, if you want us to take you seriously about this, you're going to have to stop paying. Now, I'm not ready to tell people. I actually did explain that to someone who called me earlier in the week, but I said it may be different this time. Maybe they'll work with people while they're still paying and just reduce their payments. But last time, and I can say this for 1,000 clients, there were 5 to 10 to 15 people we got, especially early on. We leveraged the fact that they had seconds and then firsts, and we went through it. But it's very difficult. I'd say 10 out of 1,000 probably got through the process without harming their credit. Or without suing them and doing other things. I mean, we have other options to dispute the debts and do other things and keep their credit. But for the regular person wanting to do a regular loan mod or a regular short sale, 95% of the time, the banks required them to be not paying for 2 months. I expect that to happen again. Not everybody, and if your credit's worth so much to you that you want to avoid it, there are optional programs that I'm sure everybody, including me, will be willing to work with you on that are more speculative. Because again, everybody who would hire me to help them try to do this while maintaining their credit, I'm going to tell you the chances are, based on my experience, to get your result, you're going to have to stop paying them. But if you want to give it a shot for a few months, let's do it. But be aware. So that's it. Main takeaway, and non-real estate related, just overall, you came into my office like, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to talk to you about, what your responsibilities are, what the contracts are, how you can work out of them. In the context currently, right now the government's not really saying much. They haven't really done much. Each time we go through this process, be aware of the government edicts, be aware of your options, make your financial choices. But please, please understand that it's so unenjoyable to have said, I'm going to do everything I can and spend all my money before I consider my options. Please don't be that person. Approach your options, knowledge, be honorable if you choose, but know when you come into the office, if it happens, that you made the choice to be honorable, that you didn't just make a mistake about it. You just didn't blunder into it, went through all your life savings and said, now I need a short sale. Don't do that. If your life savings are important to you, know your options, do the financial triage up front. Consider it today. If you're not working right now, consider it today. I hope for all of you, it's good going forward. But please know your options, make a plan. Please don't. I can't. I haven't thought about this in years. I have all these people fly. The ones that really hurt the most were two nice people, and husband or wife just ripping each other in my office, seeing me because I'm also a lawyer and a realtor. So they weren't just seeing their realtor about a short sale. They were seeing a lawyer because they couldn't even work with the other person. They're like, I need an independent person to counsel us so we can make our choices. They talk to me. Then we usually go through with the program because I had to be the voice of workout to the other person because there was enmity. They just, one of them was just so upset the other one was allowed their assets and their position to dwindle because they had honor, because whatever. It was brutal. And let me just share one more story. Oddest thing in the world, well, not the oddest thing, I just didn't know the culture that well. So many Japanese people, not so many, but I talked to plenty of people and they'd finally come in. So many people wanted to do the honorable thing from the Japanese culture. I don't know, I didn't really, I had a few friends in college. I totally changed my mind. It was killing Japanese people to take advantage of the system. So again, I want to reset your framework. The system was also designed to protect themselves. They made business loans. These people weren't individually putting money. They were going to the market, sucking in money. At the time, they were sucking in money from China and giving people seconds. And these are big people. They take risks. They're going to get loans work out from the Fed. They already do it. The Fed brought back mortgage securities last week. They know what they're doing. They're the ones not taking the risk. If they weren't taking these risks and backed by the Fed, housing prices would be much, much lower. Our payments would be much, much lower. But these people get to take risks and suck you in. I'm going to have to do a banking. I'm going to have to explain the banking system too. We're going to have a lot of videos. And the focus of these is that I want people to know their options. Thanks. Talk to you later. It's not up yet, but it will be. UpsideDownRealEstate.com was where all this was. I have to, I designed Winner's Check to not be, before you made decisions, you go to Winner's Check. I'm going to have stuff at winnerscheck.com, winnerscheck.net, and UpsideDownRealEstate.com. I don't even know how it's breaking down yet. The real estate stuff is probably going to stick. I'll probably keep that at UpsideDownRealEstate.com. I'll probably have the blog and all the information at winnerscheck.net. I don't even know yet. Just go there, contact me. If you want to do a consult, social distancing over the phone, set one up. I'm not even spun up yet. Just talk to me. I'll help you with your workouts, especially if they're real estate related. I can do the lawyer stuff too. I'm just really, really adept at setting up your workout with your real estate properties. Whether, if you want to stay in your house a long time, we can help you figure that out too. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.